Dale, very good morning to you.
Yeah, morning, Mike. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad at all. A couple of things for you this morning. Sir Keir Starmer will make it more difficult for the public to block major infrastructure projects such as wind farms and nuclear plants in the courts. We've got Rachel Reeves going to war with Ed Miliband in the cabinet over net zero. She says net zero is not as important as growth. I know you're not a great big fan of Ed Miliband and some of the stuff he wants to do. So where's it all going wrong for them for net zero? Net zero doesn't seem to be getting any closer. It's getting further away, isn't it?
Well, I don't think that's right. I'd say I am a fan of Ed Miliband, by the way. Just some of the things he's doing, I'm not a fan of, like, supporting nuclear power and that kind of stuff. I think we're racing ahead when it comes to green energy. But there's this conflict, potentially anyway. That's what we read in the news, conflict between things like new runways and wind farms. And, I don't think we need new runways.
Well, if you want to grow the economy, you need to grow the economy by somehow creating a happy environment for people to invest in Britain. And at the moment, nobody wants to invest in Britain because it's too expensive.
I don't know where you read that. Like, more runways aren't going to make Britain a happier place for people to invest in. Listen, 15% of us, Mike, take 70% of flights. This is not a mass transport thing.
Yeah,
flying.
but you know about flying, though, don't you, Dale? It's not just about people going on holiday. It's not just about people like you flying around in private jets. It's about people actually moving goods. Part of Heathrow's massive trade business is in goods coming. It's cargo. It's not just the things that we eat, the things that we buy, the things that have flown into the country. It's not just people on jollies. Have you frozen? Don't tell me you're frozen. He hasn't paid the electricity bill, has he? Ecotricity. You can't rely on it. He's probably got green energy down there. That's the problem, isn't it? Absolutely ridiculous. How about this? Mike says, is he back? I was going to say, did you need to put a penny in the old electricity meter down there? Eh? You got the windmill going.
This happens every time I'm on with you. I'm sure it's your end.
It's nothing to do with us. No, we've got proper powered electricity up here. No, but seriously, I mean, you do realise that the economy is not in a good place, right? I mean, you're a businessman. You should know that. They're putting taxes up. You're going to be paying more national insurance. That's not going to generate growth for you, is it?
Well, look, we're 6 months into a new Labour government, and all of the problems that we're facing have been inherited after a 15-year Conservative tenure. So I think we can't expect it to have been turned around relatively overnight. No, I don't think the economy is in a bad way, actually. I think, things are looking rather good.
Well, you're the only person who thinks that. National insurance kicks in April, right? So they haven't inherited that from the Tories. They're putting more and more cost onto businesses in this country. The guy that runs Brewdog, I had him on the show yesterday, Scottish guy, brilliant entrepreneur like yourself. He says this is the worst possible time to start a business in the UK, and he's never been more concerned about the future of our economy.
No, I think that's untrue. I've started businesses deep in recessions. I think that's a harder time to start things. And look, of course, national insurance has gone up. It was part of tax raising to fill the 22 billion black hole that the Tories left behind. I mean, Labour are dealing with 15 years of mismanagement of the economy.
They say
it's going to take a little while.
Yeah, but last month they borrowed nearly 18 billion pounds. Now they say they've got a 22 billion pound black hole. What are they doing with the 18 billion? That means we've now got a nearly 40 billion pound black hole. So they made it almost twice as bad.
But, remember, Labour picked up the reins of 15 years of Tory leadership of our country, and these debts and these problems, they're inherited.
Well, what are they doing? All right. Well, so what are they doing with the 18 billion?
I couldn't tell you.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of money. And it's the most it's the most any government has ever borrowed in December in 1 month since COVID. And then before that, the last time was in 2009 when we had a financial crash. Things are not going well. Yeah, but
Labour didn't start with a clean slate 6 months ago. You've got to remember that.
Yeah, well, I do remember that. It doesn't matter, though. That's a bit like saying, so I bought this house, right, and it had a hole in the floor. So what I did was I kept digging into the hole in the floor to make it bigger and bigger and bigger until I eventually fell in it. That's the same thing. What you're supposed to do is you get in and you fill the floor in. You don't let the hole get bigger, do you?
It's not the same thing.
All right. Now, listen, you issued a challenge to me a little while ago. I'm going to play this for you because not everybody saw it, because I think you've been shadow banned on X because of your extreme views. But have a look at this.
How you doing, Mikey?
Dale, very good morning to you.
I hope 2025 has been good to you so far. You probably noticed, I reckon, that this is Veganuary. And I also reckon it's not your favourite month of the year.
But vegan foods, I just can't do it. It's horrible.
But look, we're halfway through, and I got a suggestion for you. Join the party. Join us for the second half of Veganuary. Go plant-based. See what you think.
It really is. It's disgusting. It's actually revolting.
I'll donate a bunch of money to a charity of your choice if you'll do that. So you come back to me, tell me what it's going to cost for you, Mike Graham, to go plant-based for the rest of January. What do you say?
Dale Vince, thank you very much indeed. Yeah, I'm afraid I had to politely decline that on the grounds that, you know, my doctors have advised me against it because I can't do without the protein. I'd have to eat my weight in beans or something, wouldn't I, in order to continue to get the protein that I normally get from my meat diet.
That's such a big myth, actually.
It's not a myth at all.
Yeah, it is. There's more protein in plants, kilogram for kilogram, than there is in meat. I mean,
yeah, but they also taste like plants. That's why I don't eat them.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you're destined for a very unhealthy end of life.
Not at all. I've got a series of very clean bills of health from many doctors who I see on a regular basis who say that they can't believe how fit I am, considering what my lifestyle has been over the years. But here's my challenge. Here's my challenge to you. Well, we did it once before. You sent me a load of your burgers, I think, ages ago, which I distributed.
I think you liked them.
I distributed them out to my kids. I had a bite of one of them, but I didn't fancy it. But you know, you're never gonna convince most people to go vegan. I mean, look at the state of Darren Jones. He's the deputy at the Chancellor of the Exchequer's office. Right? He looks weak. He looks thin. He looks unhappy. You know, he's always on TV trying to defend Rachel Reeves, and I just think, you know, and he's the guy that's trying to shut down all the farms in this country because he's a vegan. He is.
You say some funny things, but I mean, blimey, he's trying to shut down all the farms in the country. Where'd you get that from?
Well, have you not seen the effects of the inheritance tax they're trying to start up in April?
Well, I've seen that it's created a lot of whinging, but all it's really is closing of a loophole, a tax loophole, whereby farmers didn't pay inheritance tax like the rest of us do.
Yeah, but it's closing down a lot of farms. A lot of farms are going to shut as a result of it.
Nah, they're not.
Even Rachel Reeves has conceded that it's going to shut some farms down. There's just an argument about how many. I don't know why they want to do that.
Farming is already a marginal business, particularly meat and dairy farming. And so, you know, if it's the last straw for a couple of people and they say, oh, sorry, I'm getting out of here, I mean, who knows? But they still won't avoid inheritance tax even if they quit farming. So I don't understand how...
But the farming is a special case. I'm not getting into it here because it's too complicated. But at the end of the day, you know, the farming business is not something that is worth as much as the land that it's made on, if you know what I mean. So to charge people an inheritance tax because of the value of the land itself, and listen, I'm with you. If somebody's bought a farm in order to avoid paying tax, that's different. But if somebody's got a working farm, let them do their work, let them produce the food, and let them hand that over to their kids. I don't see what's wrong with that.
Yeah, I hear that argument, but I think it's the same for millions of people with the family home. They want to leave it to the family without tax.
Why shouldn't
they can't make money with the home. The value of the home is much higher than the money they could make with the home, but still they pay inheritance tax. I don't think farmers should be a special case.
Yeah, I mean, I think that once you've paid tax once, that should be enough, shouldn't it? Why should you have to pay it again?
We pay it loads of times, don't we? We pay income tax and national insurance, then we pay VAT when we spend our money, and then we pay inheritance tax when we die.
Yeah. Right. Now, I've got a question for you here. This is on a sort of slightly happier note. It says here, it might come as a surprise to some couples, but the secret to a satisfying life could be getting married. Now, I don't want to impinge on any personal grief here, but you've just paid out an awful lot of money to get rid of one of your wives. 40.5 million quid you gave her. And you say that actually you're happy with that because you would have offered her more money and she should have taken more money earlier.
Well, actually, couple of things just to correct that. I did offer her more money 4 years ago. I offered 50 million quid. They wanted 100. The judge did order 41.8, I think it was, but got a legal bill of £4 million. So it's a walk away, 38 million compared to 50 offered 4 years ago. I'm happy because it's a vindication of everything I did in the case. I haven't paid her the money because I don't have the money, by the way.
Yeah, you haven't paid it
over the next... No. It'll be paid over the next few years. Judge gave me installments, so that's,
really?
You know.
How many?
So, say what?
How many installments?
Oh, it's 3 installments paid 3 times, the coming April and then the next 2 Aprils. Blimey. So I'm going to have to sell something to pay the bill, but that's fine.
What are you going to sell? You sell that electric bike you've got.
No, that won't do it. That won't do it.
I mean, how much money have you actually got? I mean, I've never seen anybody looking so happy at parting with 40 million quid.
Well, look, we were married for 20 years, so I mean, she's entitled to half of the money that we made or the value that we created in that period. And the argument really was that I'd spent 10 years before that building the companies myself, and that should be taken into account. The judge agreed with me, and rather than 50% of everything, it was 50% of the marital period, and overall I think it came out to like 38% of everything, and I was happy with that because it was fair, and fairness is an important thing.
Are you going to get married again? Because it says here that people who are married and in committed relationships have higher life satisfaction on average than those who are single.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where you're reading that, but I'm not single.
It's a study that's been done in all sorts of 57,000 people in more than 65 countries across the world, including the UK, US, France, Italy, Japan, and Thailand. Well, it might be slightly different in Thailand, I suppose, but yeah. So it's a big study that's been done.
Nice, but I mean, you don't have to be married to be in a relationship and be happy and having fun.
That's true. And so you're going to get married again then?
Oh, I have no idea. Listen, I've done it twice in my life, and in both times I've done it, I did it because my partner at the time believed in it and wanted it. I never have done, but I did it anyway. So maybe I won't do it.
How much did the first wife get?
Well, I had nothing. We had nothing, and
she must be pretty annoyed.
Maybe we were only together 18 months.
She gets nothing. The second one gets 40 million.
Well, what are you going to do? We lived together for 20 years, and during that time, Ecotricity grew to be quite valuable, and it was all about what was it worth. And so,
right.
I've got no complaints, except that it shouldn't have taken 4 years. It shouldn't have had all that grief in my life and all the legal expenses. I mean, she spent £4 million on lawyers.
I know, it's mad, isn't it?
To achieve less than I offered her 4 years ago, and that makes me say that the law should be changed, actually, that it should be easier to get to a number. This was just a numbers case and no fault divorce. It was just about what's a fair number. And there must be a way to do that without spending millions of pounds and years of your life.
Yeah.
That's what I reckon.
No, yeah, you're right. I mean, I've been divorced. A friend of mine who got divorced, he went to see his lawyer and he said, well, I've got two choices. I can either give all my money to the ex-wife or I can give it all to him. I mean, that's unfortunately where we are, isn't it? And you can't do it without a lawyer.
It's a little bit like that. But, there are some bad lawyers in this country. And my ex-wife's team, they rank amongst them. They ran a hideously hopeless case, made millions of pounds from her, and then lost spectacularly in front of the judge. And we knew they would because they didn't have the law on their side. But they have no comeback for that, and they should have. Yeah.
I'll leave you with one final question about Donald Trump. I mean, he's basically carrying out everything at 100 miles an hour. One of the things he's done is he's left the Paris Accord again, and he's going to be basically dumping all over net zero. Drill, baby, drill is his mantra. How much of a knock-on effect do you think that's going to have on Europe?
I don't think it'll have a big effect. As you say, he's left Paris once before. That achieved, I would say, nothing in a negative sense. But here's a little fact for you, Michael. It's interesting. He is big on the rhetoric of drill, baby, drill. But in his first period in office, he issued less drilling licenses than Joe Biden did in his most recent period. 300 a year to Trump in his period, about 460 to Biden in his period. So, this is interesting to look at. I don't think he'll follow through.
Well, the thing was with Biden, he was probably told that he wasn't doing any of that, and he didn't really know that they were doing it behind his back. I don't think he was sure what was going on for 4 years, but there we are. When are you coming back to London?
Oh, I'm there every other week or so.
Are you? Well, you should pop in and see us.
All right, I will.
I know it's a bit early, I know, for you, but you're hippies and you don't get up too early. But if you can get up here, before 9, that'd be great.
Before 9, blimey. I don't eat donuts, by the way. Don't lay on donuts.
No, we don't have donuts anymore. We've got cutbacks here. We've got no food at all. Can't afford it, I'm afraid. But I'll
send you some burgers then.
I'll see what I can do. Yeah, good to talk to you. Dale, thank you very much indeed. Dale Vince there from Ecotricity.